The reward of honesty. What happens when a poor man trusts the wrong person with his life savings? And what happens when honesty meets greed face to face? This story is not just about money. It is about patience, wisdom, and how truth always finds a way to win. A long and unforgiving drought struck the village of Greenfield. The earth cracked open, the wells dried up, and the crops failed season after season. With no work and no future left in his village, Daniel decided to leave and search for hope elsewhere. After days of walking, he arrived in a village called Riverton. He knew no one there. He had no shelter and no work. Hungry and exhausted, Daniel wandered through the village until he reached the home of a wealthy farmer named Jonathan Hale. With humility, Daniel introduced himself and explained the suffering in his village. He asked for any work, promising honesty and hard effort. Jonathan Hale studied him carefully and then offered him a difficult job. Daniel would care for 50 cows and 50 buffaloes, clean their sheds daily, feed them, and provide water morning and evening. In return, he would receive a modest monthly wage and 2 meals a day. Daniel accepted the work without hesitation. He also requested permission to stay in the barn since he had no place to live. After some thought, Hale agreed. From that day onward, Daniel worked harder than anyone else. He woke before sunrise, cleaned the barns, fed the animals, and never complained. He treated the animals with care and respect. Slowly, his dedication showed results. The animals grew healthier and milk production increased. Impressed by Daniel's sincerity, Jonathan Hale doubled his salary. Over time, Daniel saved enough money to build a small house for himself. For the first time in years, he could sleep peacefully in his own space. As the years passed, theft became common in Riverton. Daniel grew anxious about keeping his savings at home, as his house remained empty all day while he worked. On Hale's advice, Daniel decided to store his money with the village landlord, William Carter, who was widely believed to be honest and trustworthy. Daniel handed over his life savings of $5,800, feeling relieved that his money was safe. 2 years later, Daniel decided to buy land and work independently. Confidently, he went to retrieve his savings. But to his shock, the landlord claimed he did not recognize him. He demanded documents and accused Daniel of lying. Daniel pleaded, but the landlord showed no mercy. Instead, he ordered his guards to beat Daniel and throw him out. Bruised, broken, and humiliated, Daniel returned home with shattered trust. When Jonathan Hale learned what had happened, he was deeply disturbed. He admitted his mistake in trusting the landlord and promised to help Daniel recover his money. The next day, Hale visited the landlord carrying a suitcase filled with cash. He claimed he was traveling for business and wanted to leave a large sum for safekeeping. Blinded by greed, the landlord agreed immediately. At that moment, Daniel arrived. Fearful of being exposed, the landlord suddenly changed his tone. He pretended to recognize Daniel and returned all his money without delay. Soon after, Hale's servant arrived with news that the business trip had been canceled and the traders were coming to Riverton instead. Hale calmly took back his suitcase and left. The landlord was left standing alone, realizing his greed had cost him everything. Daniel, with tears of gratitude, thanked Jonathan Hale for saving his life's earnings. Hale replied that money earned through honesty may be delayed, tested, or challenged, but is never truly lost. Greed may succeed for a moment, but it never wins in the end. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to reflect on its lesson. Share it with someone who believes in honesty. Like this story and follow the channel for more real-life lessons that inspire wisdom, patience, and integrity. Because honest work may walk slowly, but it always reaches the finish line.